Hi everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and I am back today at the end of the month because I have finished up Star Trek Voyager number 8, Cybersong, by S.N. Lewitt. S.N. short for Sherry Ann Lewitt. The N stands for nothing. This is S.N. Lewitt's first and only Star Trek novel. She was an established sci-fi novel and did some other things before this, but was picked up during a period when John Ordover was looking at other, professionally published sci-fi authors to feature in these books here. Again, it's one of the books that was written before the show came out, so the author had to go based upon, like the character Bible that they give them, and maybe, some limited information, and they just have to kind of take and go with that. They're not able to do too much, of course, and kind of establish anything big. They just have to tell the story that they can tell, and I think that she tells a really fun story here with Cybersong. So, before we get into the story itself, let's spend some time talking about the cover itself for Cybersong here. So, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can all have a closer look here. There we are. This is a really cool cover. I like this one a lot. You've got 4 characters. You've got this derelict-looking ship here. You've got the Voyager coming right up the middle. I was a big fan of this cover here. So I was glad that I was able to find the website that I'd found once before, and then it somehow vanished from my mind and memory. But it is the... Oh, goodness, I forgot it already. Here we go. We're going to tell you, don't worry. And then it's never going to be lost again because it's here forever. The Internet Speculative Fiction Database. So if you're interested in knowing, who did the cover of a book, or maybe just some more information about a book, this is a great source. And it's just isfdb.org. Anyway, this cover was painted by Louis Royo, and as far as I can tell by looking through his history, maybe the only Star Trek cover he did. Maybe not, I don't know. But just a very fantastic cover, and I felt the need to make sure that he was credited. And it was interesting. It says in the notes here, first, Pocketbooks printing June 1996. The artist is not credited. Royo is on the artwork. Very tiny print, only shows under magnification. So, that's kind of interesting, how that came about. And, I don't know. I'm probably the only person in the world that wants to know the story of how Royo did this cover and how it all came about. Did he know? Did he know Sherry Ann Lewitt? And because of their connection, is that how it... I don't know. Anyway. Enough about the cover and all that. Let's get right into the back cover here. And the back cover says, Star Trek Voyager, Cybersong. A mysterious signal lures the starship, it's a starship, the starship Voyager, indeed, to an uncharted sector of the Delta Quadrant. An enigmatic ghost ship floating adrift in space. Janeway mounts an investigation, hoping the alien ship may hold a clue to the whereabouts of the caretaker's long-lost ship and his mate, the only known entity with the power to send the USS Voyager home. The ghost ship appears deserted, but soon a strange presence casts an eerie spell over the hearts and souls of the crew. Unless Janeway can solve the vessel's mystery, Voyager itself may succumb to its haunting song. Ooh, man. Alright, that's actually a pretty good back cover. Doesn't spoil a whole bunch, doesn't give a whole bunch away. So, without me spoiling too much, I will tell you that this is it's an early Voyager novel. So you're getting a novel where the characters are, they're not fully fleshed out. So the author's just trying to tell a fun story, and I think that she tells a very fun story in this one. I had a good time with it, and one of the things that I guess made it better for me was that I was able to focus more on this. So we started it on the 26th, and we just finished it today on the 31st, and I was able to sit down and maybe do the last quarter today. And whenever you're able to do that, you can kind of get into it more when you're just kind of trickling it, here and there throughout the week. So doing that, I was able to get into it a lot more and have a lot more fun with it for sure. And just really enjoy kind of the ride to the ending. So without getting into spoilers again, what you have here is I would say mostly a Chakotay centric book, but everyone does kind of get like a little bit of something to do. I had thought at first that maybe there was something weird going on with some of the characters, but now I'm starting to think that maybe it was just a matter of the author not, it's just the characters aren't fleshed out yet. So the Tuvok and the Janeway and the Chakotay, we know, they don't know them yet. So the writer can't write them that way. So, but what they do is they tell a very interesting story. And they tell it too without involving initially any outside sources, really. No outside races, nothing like that. And that's kind of the thing that really I liked initially about the story. It drew me in, was that you have this kind of great mystery, and they're working against just the problem and whatever's going on there. And there's not like another race, another ship, another person that they're dealing with, talking with. The book doesn't cut away to another character, another race, and give like their point of view for a chapter, which is kind of refreshing and nice. You get to follow along with what's going on with the ship and the mystery, and as things kind of break down there, as they get drawn further and further into this mystery and this trouble that's going on. So I would say, again, a Chakotay book, Macely. I was going to say Monley and Macely. Neither of those words are actually words. But this is a Chakotay book. He's definitely featured. They did a good job, I think, also with Kess in this book. And you don't get to say that very much. At least I haven't very much. But I think that she wrote Kess very well and kind of made her shine as a character in this too. And there was a new character introduced, and then who kind of leaves by the end, who was kind of interesting, and it made me wonder, I guess, where that came from. And it made me want to kind of ask, like, the thought process into bringing this character in. So I have the camera moved just perfectly, so you don't have to see my hands constantly moving as I'm talking. So I just move them down here. See that? Look at that. Perfect. Anyway, that's Cybersong, non-spoiler talking. So if you don't want to be spoiled, leave now, because now we're going to jump into my notes. And I took such good notes. No, I didn't take good notes. I took notes. They're not good, and they're sloppy, but it will help us to run back through the story here, as we like to do at this point during the video. So the book starts out with Kess having a dream of her time when she was enslaved by the Kazon, and just kind of enforcing like this feeling of loneliness and despair. And it was something that was strange to her, because since she'd been on board Voyager, that's not something that had really been bothering her that much. So then you kind of get like a little bit of this. The author kind of lays out this early Voyager setting, where everybody's still kind of feeling each other out. Chakotay is really not sure if he can trust Tom Paris. Things are just kind of just settling themselves out there. So now Chakotay, for some reason, has got this kind of intense sense of worry that he can't seem to place. He just feels that like something is definitely going on here. So they get this kind of reading that there's a tachyon field somewhere off in the distance, and they're thinking of maybe going to scan it, and then they decide, it's probably going to be more trouble than it's worth. We're just going to continue on our course. They're actually running a little bit low on supplies, and it's kind of becoming a little bit of an issue. And if they don't make it to their next stop in time, they might have to start rationing, and things could go bad from there. So they decide that they're going to not investigate this weird tachyon field and what might be over there, and just continue on to where Neelix says their next source of food might be. So they move on to do that, but as they're doing that, Chakotay keeps having this sense that something isn't right. something's not going right. And looking into it, they find out that even though the helm and the computer and everything is telling them that they're going in the right direction, they are actually still being pulled towards the tachyon field, and they're going directly towards it, even though everything that they can see and read tells them otherwise. So something is definitely going wrong, and they're going in the direction they do not want to go. And they're able to tell this by the kind of the increase in the tachyon field that's coming up. So, at this point in the story, Tuvok, he is thinking sabotage. Someone has sabotaged the system. There's really no other choice. And I was kind of thinking, Tuvok is acting really suspicious. And then, they had Chakotay acting very, lonely and kind of, worried. And then Kes in her dreams. So I was thinking, there's something going on here affecting, the telepathic people on the ship here. So, and I think that was kind of done well. I like how the author did that. So now that they know what's going on, they're trying to figure out a way to stop themselves from getting closer. So they try to cut all of the connections, basically, to the computer in hopes that will shut it down. Still doesn't do it. They're drawn closer and closer, and when they get closer and they can get a view of what's actually going on here, you can imagine what you see here on the cover. There on the cover, right there. Some kind of giant derelict ship in a junkyard of other derelict ships. So Janeway, of course, decides that it's a good idea to get over there and see what's going on. There's actually a distress call that comes out from the giant derelict ship, but doesn't get very far past the Voyager crew. They're able to discern that it's basically like a bogus call. It's something has made up these people, and kind of something is trying to draw them in there. So let me make sure I'm not missing anything and look closer at my notes. Diabolical. Computer virus makes computer go the wrong way, and nobody knows. It's a trap. So they get there, and the away team consists of Paris, Janeway, and Kim. And I don't... How Chakotay let... Anyway, this is not TNG. Riker would never let Picard go out there on that ship, but captain's prerogative, I guess. So Janeway goes over to the ship, and they explore, and they find this very cool ship. And what I liked about this was it seemed like the author kind of came up with the species first. They said, okay, so what if our species is a giant cave-going four-armed species? Something like maybe 3 times the size of your normal human. How would they design their ship? How would their ship look? So their ship, while, has all the normal functions of a regular starship, looks like the inside of a cave. So all the consoles are made to look like stalactites and stalagmites and rock formations, things like that. So that was a very interesting part of the book. I enjoyed that very well. In addition to that, they also start... as they explore the ship, they get in, they find that some of it is powered up, and they kind of seem like they're almost being kind of led, in a certain direction. And they're able to find the bridge of the ship, and that's when back on the Voyager, Chakotay has a bad feeling. He has a very bad feeling. And basically kind of against normal procedure, what he would normally do, of course, in the situation, heads down to the shuttle bay to get into a shuttlecraft. To his surprise, who is down there? None other than Kes, who also had a feeling that she needed to be down there because something was going to happen. So they get in the shuttle, they fly over to the ship, they get inside the tachyon field. They couldn't contact the captain, of course, because she was inside the thing. Once they're inside, they make contact. The captain's like, no, everything's fine, we'll contact you soon. And he's like, oh, okay. As soon as they turn around to leave, he's like, no, this is wrong. They turn back around to go back in. boom, everything blows up. The whole bridge area where Chakotay, or not, where Janeway and Paris and Kim were trying to learn about what was going on here, that all blows up. So now you have a very interesting, an exciting rescue scene where Chakotay and Cass have to suit up in their EV suits and go out there and rescue Kim and Janeway. Paris is hurt but able to walk still, but they're able to get everybody back to the ship, and basically kind of like just in time. And if they didn't get there in time, Kim would have died. But they're able to get there. He's hurt. He's kind of messed up a little bit. But it's at this point they know that they need to look at their computer code. And it's this, again, this is kind of the weird part in the novel where they bring in a new character, this Ensign Mandel. And Ensign Mandel is a very excellent programmer and currently is working in stellar cartography, which is what she loves because she just loves nothing more than to chart the stars and kind of be alone, not be bothered, and just do her job and kind of, just really engross herself in it. Now, she is the second best programmer next to Harry Kim, so they engage her help to look through the code and try to figure things out. So you have this kind of weird little part in the book where everyone is dealing with this Ensign Mandel, and she's just kind of like, just very rude. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to be doing this. She just wants to go back to what she is doing, but she does do her job, and she does it very well. And she's able to kind of crack the code, or at least crack the beginning of the code, enough so that when Harry Kim is awake, he can help finish the job, and then kind of the two of them together figured out what happened. And what happened was that this entity, this AI or whatever, sent out a signal, and it was such a good virus, it got into the computer and nobody could tell anything, and it simply drew them right in. And apparently this has been doing this for years and eons, and who knows how long. So slow down, Josh. All right. I had fun with this one. This was good. Again, just really benefits when you can sit down and give it some extra time. I actually woke up early this morning and was like reading in the early morning hours because I wanted to finish this book today. It was that good. Anyway, back to the notes. They kind of fell apart here today, but we won't need to reference them anymore. We can just talk. And so we have Ensign Mandel now. And Ensign Mandel has proven her worth and kind of found the initial code. And because of that, they want to take her back over on the second mission back to the ship to see kind of what else they can do, what else they can get, what else they can learn from this. Because their primary mission, of course, is they want to get home. So they're hoping maybe there's something here they can find that can help them get out of here. So in going back, I think they have Cass in Paris and Chakotay and Mandel go back with B'Elanna Torres. Torres is able to find basically kind of like a power source where she can kind of jumpstart their own replicators, jumpstart some more of their own power stuff by siphoning off, some of the stuff that they have. So she gets to work on that. And then you have some interesting stuff here in the end where they actually start to communicate with the AI. And the AI comes off as basically like kind of like a petulant child. Basically like, no, I want you all to stay here with me. Don't you see how strong I am? Do you see everything that I've done to all these people? So you have some interesting stuff here with Chakotay where I like how they do this too, where they kind of take his, where he's like, he can get into his spirit world and he can meet with his totem. They're able to kind of ascribe that to like a kind of a level of, psychic something or other, so that he's able to use that and use his skill in entering that world to kind of like box out this entity and think for himself and work his way through the problem. And that's why I say it's mostly like a Chakotay book, because he's the one, I think, kind of in the end that really does the most and kind of gets things sorted out and gets things figured out. So everybody else has kind of something to do, but it's, I think, Chakotay at the end that kind of really does the most in the book. So there is no real big, I don't know, gigantic conclusion in this one either. It's fun that they're just able to solve the problem, figure out what happened, and then make their escape, basically. In the end, however, as they, of course, once Harry Kim gets back around, is able to create a firewall to keep this thing out. They regain control of all their systems, and B'Elanna is able to get out of there with a lot of energy so they can power up enough to make their way to the next stop. There's like a interesting little side story that doesn't, it kind of ties into the main story but doesn't, where there's also a problem with some of the grain they have on board. And this grain has a special mold in it that's kind of making it go bad. But that mold also makes humans more adept to receive telepathic signals. Right? Okay. But anyway, Neelix has been making cookies with this moldy stuff and giving it to people. He's been giving to this Ensign Mandel. She'd been eating the cookies. She went on the away mission. She talked to the AI. And basically she fell in love with the AI, right? She connected in a way with the AI that she was never able to with humans before. So at the end, when the Voyager is leaving, she steals a shuttle and flies back to the AI. Of course, Janeway's not going to just let her go like that. They take a shuttle, they go after her, they get back inside the AI, and that's when they kind of talk it out. They hash everything out, and they decide that they're just going to leave her there. Well, it's a fun ending. It's a good book, and I liked it. And honestly, I just kind of wish I could talk to the author to know more about how she came up with this, But the ending is interesting because they always had the concern about what to do. Destroy the AI, which has its own ethical concerns, or leave it to draw in and possibly kill more people. Again, ethical concerns. You can see the arguments from both sides. The Ensign Mandel solution solves the problem. Mandel will become the official Federation ambassador to this AI. She will stay aboard, which is what the AI wants. And then she can influence the AI to, do the right thing. Try to better the galaxy, better the people that it becomes involved with. So, and that's how it's left. And it's just kind of, just stops right there at the end, too. Where it's like, congratulations, Ambassador Mandel. We're sure you're going to do a great job. We'll see ya. And then they take off and they head to the next supply depot. So, now I'm sure I'm missing something there. That can't be the whole story. But that is the gist that we're going to get there. And I think it was a fairly good gist, to be honest with you. Again, the stuff with Ensign Mandel seemed kind of weird in the end. But I just wonder if that was like the author writing in herself, writing in someone she knew, or just, I don't know. It's interesting to me. But it all worked out well. And again, I think that they did a great job with Chakotay. I think that she did a great job with Kes, again, which I like to see. And, there was some funny stuff in there, too, with Neelix and all the food and that kind of stuff. And his preoccupation, I guess, with his job as morale officer and cook, as opposed in comparison to everything else that has to go down on the ship, So I thought that was really good, too, as well. So, man, other than that, I don't know what else to say. Again, a wonderful cover. Very good. Fun book, and it's a shame that Sherry Ann Lewis did not write any other Trek novels. But maybe someday I can pick up one of her other sci-fi books and see what that's about. But I had some thoughts as to what we're going to do next. And we're going to continue with the Voyager, and I'm going to tell you why. I was looking, and the next book in the numbered series is number 9, of course, The Final Fury. And The Final Fury is part of the Invasion 4-part series, which I read last year. So I've already read number 9, which means I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I cannot possibly move on to another series or anything like that until I read number 10, which is Bless the Beasts by Karen Haber. We've got Kim and we've got Paris here, and we've got some kind of oceanic world possibly. I don't know. Anyway, that's what we're going to get into next, and I am going to commit right now to reading this thing a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit faster than I normally would, so that hopefully we can come in maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday night and talk about this again, and then ultimately decide what's going to be next after this. So we will move on from Voyager after 10, and if anyone out there has input for anything that they think I should pick up and read after this, I'm open to suggestions. So, as always, everybody, thank you so much for spending some time sitting here talking about a Star Trek book with me for the past 25 minutes and 56 seconds. As always, live long and prosper, and we'll see everybody in the next one. Good night.